Hello everybody and welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great day today. I'm having a great day today. Thanks for joining for another Tableau Tip series. Our series where every week we shine a light on some of Tableau's more obscure capabilities. This is a great season for you guys to find those hidden gems to take your skills to a new level. As you can see from the video description, we're going to be going over parameters here. Parameters are a great way to add interactivity and flexibility to any dashboard, kind of reusing some of the same screen space and just changing certain elements that you define of them. Now, the first thing I want to go over with parameters is just to warn you guys, I have seen dashboard after dashboard that just has far too much interactivity. Usually if I'm adding interactivity to a dashboard, it's at the very late stages when I finally crafted my core message and I'm just guiding them through the process on how they interact with it. So take that for as you will. It is great functionality in Tableau, and let's go ahead and get to work here. First, what we're going to do here is a reference line, and we're going to see a couple of the benefits that we have with that. So we're going to right click our axis down here. We will add a reference line where we can add our reference line, and rather than base it off of a value here, we're actually going to create a new parameter. Now there are a few steps to create a new parameter. I shorten it to the small phrase, create it, use it, show it. Now in the parameter that we're currently about to create, I refer to this as an ad hoc parameter, and basically it's going to create and use the parameter all in one step. So the last thing we just have to do is show the control to our end user. So that might sound confusing at first, so let's go through a quick build here. So we're going to create a new parameter, and we're going to give it a range of values, which we can actually even set from a field that we want. But for right now, we're just going to give them a minimum and maximum value of between 600,000 and 800,000. And we'll go ahead and we'll make that step size 50,000 here. All right, so we have created our parameter. We'll give it a name here. We'll say reference line. And we can just go ahead and press OK. Now it's created the parameter. As you can see in my data pane down in the bottom here, we have a reference line that has been created, and it's used that parameter right here in the reference line creation box. So there we go. We press OK. We have our shown parameter control here. That's another function of the ad hoc parameter, although you could always right click and show the parameter control right here. And now we've given our end user the option to move that reference line as they see fit within the step lines that we've given them. Now here's a great benefit for that. We can actually now use that in a calculation. If I create a calculated field, I can just say if the sum of sales is greater than reference line, then true, else false, and. So now, whenever that reference line moves beyond the point of that sales, we can now have it change color with where the parameterized reference line has been. Beautiful. All right, next one we're going to go over is another ad hoc one where we don't have to create the parameter manually. We're just going to create it where we would like it. So in this instance, we're going to filter this down to the top 10, the top 15, the top 20 cities. We're going to let our ending user decide. So we place our city onto our filter. We come on over to our top tab. I want my top 10 based on sales, but rather than top 10, give me my top parameter value here. So again, we'll create a new parameter. We'll call this top N, and we can give them a range of maybe 5 to, 30 or so, and we'll give that a step size of 5. And we press OK. And now we will get our top 10 based on the parameter control over here, which again is automatically shown because we used it in that ad hoc creation method. Now, one word for the wise here is that these parameters can be used across sheets. So if you wanted to have another one, perhaps the top 10 postal codes in there, you can reuse that top N parameter by just taking your postal code onto your filter shelf, go into your top tab, and then just re-referencing that parameter. So careful that you don't create a whole bunch of parameters when really you could just be using one to accomplish both tasks here. Like you see right there. So now we can just use this same parameter, show the control, and now we have one driver that is driving two sheets. And indeed, I'll just put them both on a dashboard here so that we can see that it is indeed one sheet. So I would not be capable of having my top 15 over here and my top 10 right here. I would need two different drivers if I wanted to accomplish that. All right, last ad hoc variety right here. I have a histogram made up for us. Now, whenever I create a histogram, I like to kind of explore different distributions. So while yes, it is nice that if I take a look at this bin here, Tableau has an algorithm that's determining that 2.28 is going to be significant. However, I would like to play around with this to see if there are different distribution curves in my data. So if we go down here, we can create a new parameter for that. I'm just going to accept the defaults here for the sake of brevity. Now we can press OK, and now we can type in different histogram bin sizes that we can explore different distributions throughout our data. Great stuff. Typically, once I find a distribution that I would like to exemplify, I'll just go ahead and hide that parameter control. I don't want my end user necessarily changing around those bin sizes, but again, that is completely up to you, the analyst. All right, next one is going to be a little bit trickier. We're going to have to use our calculated parameter in this. So we are going to go through the lengthy way, which remember, again, is create it, use it, show it. So let's do the first step in that scenario. We're going to go to our caret right here in our data pane, and we're going to create our new parameter right here, create parameter. And we're going to call this dimension select. We're going to give it a list here. We don't want a range of values. We want them to select a list. I'll go ahead and make that a type of string, and we'll go ahead and have a value of state and a value of city. So our ending goal here is to allow our ending user to disaggregate between either state or city as they see fit. So we've created our parameter now. We've given it a list of values that are displayed in whatever way we would like. Now we can just press OK. We have our new parameter down here. It is a discrete parameter. Now we need to use it. Create it, use it, show it. So we'll go up to this parameter. We're going to, or this caret rather, sorry. We're going to create a calculated field. That is where we're going to use it. So in previous examples, we used it in the filter. We used it in the reference line. This time we're going to be creating a calculated field to use it. So for this, we're going to be using a case statement here. So case statement is just a way for you to evaluate different acceptable values. Those are the ones we set up in the parameters to do different things, which will dictate in the calculation here. So we will case our dimension select parameter, which turns our text purple. And you'll remember our values that we used were when state, then state. Just like that, just that easy. Now our second clause here will say when city, then city. And we will end our case statement there. I like to do a naming convention here. Mine is CP dot, so I know that it stands for calculated parameter, and then I will name it the exact same thing as the parameter it is selecting. And we'll go ahead and press OK. Now we can build out a quick scatter plot here. But rather than put state or city onto my detail shelf to disaggregate this, I'm going to go ahead and put the calculation that can do either output onto my detail. Last step is we will show our parameter control. So we create it, we use it, we show it. And now it can take multiple different values to disaggregate on the detail shelf, which is where we dropped our calculation. Great stuff right there. We're going to do one more example here. I'm going to move a little quicker, but we can also allow them to change their X and Y axes right here. So we can have sales on X and profit on Y, or sales on X and quantity on Y. We can allow them to change that here. So let's run through those steps again. We're going to create a parameter, and we'll call this one measure select. We'll give them a list to choose between maybe sales and quantity. We need to change that into a string right there. That's why I'm getting that error. So we'll go sales, and we'll say quantity. And I could take the time to do the rest of my measures as well, but for the sake of brevity, let's leave it at sales and quantity here. We'll press OK. That is our create it step. We are now going to go to a calculated field to use it, where we can say case our measure select parameter when sales, then sales. When quantity, oops, then quantity. And we'll end that statement. And just like that, we have now allowed our ending user to switch between sales and quantity right here. The last step to do is just to replace this sales field with the new field. So sales is only capable of being sales, but our new calculation here is capable of being either sales or quantity. So let's go ahead and right-click that parameter, show our control to our end user, and look at the flexibility we've allowed them to look at in this chart. All right, I hope you enjoyed our tip this week. Join us next week for another one.